So the first thing you really should do is get your bow level, so you know what square is. So move this over here and try to get these bubbles to.
Who makes this tool?
That is a HTM. There are a couple others out there, and there's a new one coming out pretty quick, but at the moment that's the one we're using.
Okay.
Works pretty handy. So get it roughly close. It doesn't have to be exact, but just to give you an idea. We're gonna need your arrow.
Okay.
If you got one, if you want to grab one. Make sure. All right, you can record now?
Yeah.
All right, so just get your arrow rest on here and bring it up till it's snug, somewhat.
Like how snug? Just
just lightly. We're not reefing it on at the moment.
Okay.
And then come back to this side, Dan, and take a look at what we've got here. So, come in front of me. All right, you see the positioning of this?
Yeah.
And where it is. So you want to make sure you're clearing here and not touching anything, and not so far forward here that your set screw can't sit on aluminum.
This is your set screw?
Yeah, that's your lock. So when you tighten this down and then tighten that down, it has a hard time rotating.
Oh,
if you were pulling.
That's great.
Okay.
I haven't seen a lot of.
So we're gonna take that level and set this on here to try to get it level, and we're tipped forward just a little bit.
You better get that.
Come around behind me here. So to make sure we're square here, this is tipped forward just a little bit in comparison to the other level, so we're going to try to rotate this down a little bit, which is why we haven't tightened it up, and get that to where it reads like it's perfectly level. That looks pretty good right there.
Oh, so we're matching up levels.
Yeah, so this is our string is square, so we want our arrow rest square to the string, so when you actually adjust the arrow rest, you're adjusting it on the same plane as the string. So, and we got that where we want, so we're going to go ahead and give that a good tighten.
But then you wouldn't set the...
We'll get to that in a sec. Okay. So once you've got your rest mounted to the bow the way you want it, then you hit your set screw so it doesn't rotate on you. Alright, that's good and firm. Alright, so now we're going to check where we want to start our knock height at. So we check this level again here. This got shifted a little bit in this vise. You know, I'll tighten it down a little more so it doesn't move. And then we've got this little with an edge on it, and we can see that we're pointed down.
Who makes this?
Well, this is actually just one that I bought at the hardware store, but I think I found a supplier for it to be able to sell them to people. So
we need to come down?
Yeah. Well, our arrow rest actually needs to come up.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, wait, down. You're right. It's pointed up. Yep. So now we can loosen our micro. Drop it back down a little bit.
So that's your micro set screw?
Micro up and down. Yeah, we're gonna just pop that in place so it's...
I have not seen a rest with micro adjustment.
There's several.
Is there?
They're just usually really expensive. The new QAD has micro. Trophy Taker Smackdown has micro. Okay, so we're pretty close there. So that's probably about where you want to start.
Okay.
This would be a little better if there was something here to hold it in place instead of your fingers. But that's probably about where we're going to want to start. So left and right wise, traditionally they say you want to be about 13/16 off of the riser. That is not 13/16.
You said they. Who says that?
Oh, just about every bow manufacturer actually says that. That's where they should start from. So
13/16
off of the riser.
Where were we?
Oh, way in, but we hadn't moved it yet.
Okay.
We haven't adjusted it yet.
So then, what set screw did you use for that
one? You're up and down on this
top.
big stainless one right here.
Check
And the other good thing about these Hamskeas is they have just really big, beefy hardware. Okay. So you're never going to go to tighten it down and have it snap off.
So your left or right set screws there, and then you're up and down set screws there.
And then you just turn those knobs and it drives it on this Trinity. Another thing that this rest has that a lot of theirs don't is support on either side of the launcher. You're never going to fall on this thing and snap your launcher off. It's just not going to happen. There's nothing beefier on the market than this thing. It's just a beast. So, but it's a bit heavier than the next because of it. So, all right. So we're still got a little ways to go here. So just keep moving your rest over till you hit about 13/16. And from straight down the shaft, and that looks about 13. Yeah. So that's about where we want to start our left to right from. So that will give you now know that your arrow is level to the bowstring and that your arrow rest is 13/16 off the riser. That's where you would start tuning from. So if you get that set up squared, get your rest finished up, set your timing of your bow, make sure your wheels are orientated correctly, your cables are orientated correctly, and we'll do that in the next video.
So we did wheeling on the first go, right? We just did the wheeling of the top cam?
Yeah, we haven't actually set the timing yet.
Okay.
So, and it would be better to be able to set that at draw, but there's no real easy way to do that right now. So, but yeah.
Did you already tighten down your set?
I had not tightened it down yet. No, I just moved it over where we needed it, and that's the only negative is these are kind of a little tricky when they get over there to get in there and get a good reef on it.
Now, are these designed to go from the limb?
Yeah, this is a limb-driven rest, and they come with these little rubber pads that stick on the limb for you to attach to, but I find it to be a lot bigger than it really needs to be. So I usually cut them down and use about half of it because it's huge. And then we're going to stick that on your limb back there. Hang on. We can take this out. We don't need the level anymore. Take this off and stick it back here. So you always want to put your limb activated rests down in the cam area because you want it to be where the limb moves the most, but I always try to keep it away from anywhere where it could be close in here. You can tie it in here. That's something that a notable person started doing recently. I haven't played with it too much, so I don't want to, just recommend that without feeling like I experimented a little bit, but it is a good way to go overall. It looks like, anyway. We'll see soon when we get a little experiment to it.
Do these springs wear out over time?
Only if you reef on it really hard.
What about water, rain, elements?
No. And they give you a backup one too, just in case you manage to jack something up. But this has a really cool system for tightening. Let me put the bow back up now that we've got that on there. So I like to just do basically the same thing I would do with a string loop. So I tie a knot. Are you tight in here right now? You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I tie a knot just like a string loop knot around the material itself. So let me see here. So it looks just like the string loop knot if you watch that prior video. And I'll cinch it up good and tight on here. And then I will cut, clip, and melt the excess. And flare it out just like you would a loop end. And that sucker's not coming off. Now the neat thing that this little guy does is it's actually an easy adjust tensioner. So if you stretch your cord out, if it gets really hot or something along those lines occur, or you want to manipulate how much pressure is on it, it's literally just a cinch, pull, and tighten. You've adjusted your tension. So you can loosen it back up, put your rest back up, pull it back down till it's tight.
How do you know it's too tight?
Well, I really don't think there is too tight other than excessive, but watch your spring. If you see your spring start to expand, you're putting too much pressure on it.
Okay.
So,
and they come with a backup?
They do come with an extra spring in case you waller one out, but you're only going to do that if you manage to catch this on something and just keep pulling your bow.
Okay.
They really will not wear out under their own conditions. So, and that is how to install that rest. Next step would be double check our wheeling, timing, cam timing, make sure that's all good, and then we'd put an arrow through paper. And then once we had that paper tuned good and everything was set good there, then we would find your ideal P-pipe after we put your sight on the bow.
Okay.
That's the process going forward.
Well, that's a pretty good step today.
Yeah. Looks more like a bow today.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you could actually fire an arrow out of it.
That's one of the slickest rests I've ever seen in person, honestly. Like
they're really well designed.
Wow, that's cool. All right, so next time we're going to basically pick up where we left off. The last step is the peep, like you said.
Yeah, after we tune.
So we're going to shoot through paper right away?
Yep.
Are you going to put it on a draw board?
Draw board would be before paper. So yeah, put it on a draw board, check the cable timing, wheeling, make sure all that's right.
Okay.
Because it's pointless to try to paper tune your bow unless your strings and cables are orientated correctly.
That's just you're looking for synchronization.
Synchronization and wheeling, making sure you don't have a really adverse wheeling thing. If you got a bad bow, for example, that you'd run into that. Okay. You'd see it then. You wouldn't see it before then, typically.
Can't wait to shoot this thing. It's only been like a month in my hands, but I'm learning so much. Appreciate Josh's time. If you guys want to get a hold of Josh, this is the guy I use. You can ship your stuff here. Strings are made here. Again, we talked about they don't go in a package and then sit in a warehouse. They go right on your bow. They match the stock stuff. It's just a better material. Am I allowed to say what material it is?
Yeah, it's 452X low wax.
Okay. And then as far as tuning and stuff like that, they can tune it and ship your bow back. It's just tough to find a good pro shop, and I didn't know that till we had our first elk shape camp, and all the guys were just blown away at Josh's stuff I've heard him say before they never heard. So reach out to Josh, and you can always hit me up or him. He's on Instagram and he never checks it. It's at Spokane Valley Archery.
Yeah.
Cool. You ready to buy a bow?
Probably.
I know. Let's go.